Are you tired of watching the game prices up go faster than the Wi-Fi bill? Are you mad that the only thing finished about modern games is the trailer? Are you an epic gamer who loves this industry but also wants to throw it into a volcano? Well then, congratulations because you clicked on the right video. Also, make sure you watch it before the first of next month because next month we're increasing the prices of this video by $10. That's right, even though it's free, we're increasing the prices by $10. So make sure that you watch it before next month. Please watch it. Hey, I'm Million and today we're talking about the flaming hot mess that is video game pricing. That thing everyone's complaining on Twitter about, also Reddit, and probably in therapy.
Wait, why is this such a big deal now? What happened, huh? Something happened recently?
Of course something happened recently. Nintendo dropped an $80 nuke on this industry. And now we're all just sitting here dazed, confused, and trying to decide which kidney to sell for the next Mario game. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So grab your hazmat suits, your favorite snacks, and let's dive headfirst into this radioactive topic. Also, this video might ruffle a few feathers, but if you're one of those people who gets mad online, feel free to not click away from this video, please. I still need your precious eyeballs so I can grow this channel. So please, stay. Please stay. And comment what you think I said was wrong.
Please save all your questions until the end of the lecture. Thank you.
Now you can play most all the video games you'd ever want to play. Introducing the Sears Cartridge Telegame System.
Let's go back, way back, the 70s and 80s, a time when video games were new, exciting, and priced like someone threw darts at a wall. Back then, the industry was young, dumb, and broke. Kind of like me after buying 3 games during a PlayStation sale I still haven't played. To give you an idea, the VR headset market right now is basically the gaming industry of the 80s. Some headsets cost a couple $100. Others cost a down payment on a house. There is no standard because the industry is still figuring out what people are willing to pay and what they're willing to cry over. Sure, there are some headsets that are in their 3rd or 4th iterations with their prices dialed down, but the headset industry as a whole, just like the gaming industry in 70s and 80s, is still in its infancy, figuring things out as each year passes. It wasn't until the 3rd generation of consoles, aka the NES generation, when $60 became the industry standard for video games. There were always some games that would try squeezing more from gamers.
$80 for Turok? What?
There better be over 80 dinosaurs in this game.
But $60 was locked in as the max price that you can charge at the time. And boy, what a locked in price that turned out to be. The games continued to be priced at $60 for so long that it became a holy law written by the gaming gods of yesteryear.
Thou shalt never charge more than $60 for a video game. Also, thou shalt always continue to play Tetris until the sun explodes.
Nice. $60 was the agreed upon price till the end of 8th generation. That is such a generational run that I fear we will never see it be replicated ever again.
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
$60 was a huge commitment back in the day. Adjusted for inflation, that comes to what? $175? Wow, gaming really was the hobby of the rich. But as the time passed on, and the value of $60 kept decreasing, the industry banged on keeping the price the same, and instead focused on getting more players to buy the games. For the longest time, the strategy worked pretty well. As more and more kids and adults were exposed to video games, the industry kept growing, creating more lifelong fans of the medium in the process than ever before, until Sony committed the grave sin of breaking the golden rule in 2020 by upping the price to $70 for Gen 9 games. And as expected, many did suffer for the sins of one. See what I did there? Shout out to the Forgotten City. The rest of the industry said,
"Wait, can we do that? Are we allowed?"
And gamers went,
Blasphemy!
but okay, it's Demon Souls, so maybe.
Still blasphemy!
I
Declare bankruptcy!
As the industry growth started to plateau, as people's attention started being swayed by free games that end up taking all their time, other media options that become more accessible than ever before, or the social media that is more addictive than ever. Video game industry, or specifically single player games, have not seen much growth in terms of sales from what was previously seen. So Sony, the king of cinematic single player experiences, decided to break the sacred price ceiling and hoped nobody rioted. And of course, everyone else followed suit, whether their games deserved it or not. Looking at you, Saints Row, $70 is now the industry standard. It is fine if a company is making a good product. Sure, I'll be more wary of a game's quality than before, but I'm okay spending $10 more. If the quality is good, I might buy fewer games than before, but if a company promises quality, I will give that extra money to them. But now here's where it gets wild. Nintendo said, $70? That's cute.
We're going 80.
Friendship over!
And they did it, with the confidence of someone who knows their fans will pay anything for a slightly shinier version of a game they already own. And they're not even promising better quality, just high prices. A second price hike within the same console generation? A 33% price hike from the initial 60?
Boy, have you lost your mind, cause I'll help you find it.
That's like ordering a burger and getting charged extra for the same pickles. In Canada, where I live, the new Mario Kart costs $110 Canadian. At that point, I expect the game to come with actual tires and a working wheel. In Australia and the UK, it's the same story. And worst of all, Nintendo games never go on sale. So this price isn't temporary, it's forever. You'll be paying $110 for Mario Kart until you die. Or longer if they port it to the afterlife.
Who's laughing now?
So, is this a good thing for the industry? Honestly, I don't know. But what I do know is we're at a weird turning point. A point where game prices are going up faster than the games themselves improve. So let's talk about why it could be or could not be a good thing.
Look. Okay, can you swear here? Can you swear? Okay. Fuck the Oscars, you know? Fuck the Oscars! Fuck you! I'll tell you! This is bullshit! Look, here's the thing. The gaming industry is an interactive experience. You feel it in your heart.
Games as an industry or medium or product, whatever you want to call it, is in a very unique place. They're part product, part art, part emotional trauma simulator when you and your partner decide to play Overcooked together.
Does it make you feel better shouting in front of the Bluetooth?
I'm not shouting in front of anybody.
Is that you have to show off?
How bloody fucking dare you?
Don't be stupid. Don't be so stupid.
I'm not showing off.
Don't be so stupid.
I am tired.
Calm down.
No!
What I mean by that is, games compete with movies and shows and also compete with something like Legos at the same time. This puts it in a very unique place, and therefore the pricing of games is complicated. That is why it may not be easy to convince a gamer to tie themselves to a subscription or rely solely on them buying the games at full price. Think about it. If I tell you, hey, you should watch The White Lotus or The Penguin, your brain doesn't immediately go, okay, but is it $90? Is it broken at launch? Does it have day one patch? No. You just open up HBO Max. Let's be honest. Some suspicious looking streaming site that ends in .to and roll with it. Same with music. If I say, yo, Kendrick just dropped a new album, you're not pulling out your wallet, you're just pulling up Spotify and vibing. But the second I tell someone you have to try The Witcher 3, their first reaction is, how much is it? Is there a sale? Can I get it on Game Pass? Do I need mods to fix it? That's the pricing dilemma. Games are treated like consumable media, but priced like collectibles. You're not just buying entertainment, you're buying a 40-hour commitment, a download that eats your SSD alive, and a gamble on whether it actually works on your hardware. Now, subscription services like Game Pass and PS Plus have started shaking things up, and for a while it felt like we were entering the golden age of gaming. Play Doom, Persona, Minecraft Dungeons, and Farming Simulator, all for one low monthly price.
Damn!
But that's also where it gets complicated again. Even with the advent of subscription services, there are still a large demographic of gamers that will choose to buy their games instead. I think Xbox knows that very well, which is why they chose to announce their price increase suspiciously quickly after Nintendo did. Xbox knows that they can squeeze extra money out of the small subset of people who choose to buy games on Xbox rather than subscribe to Game Pass. So if they up the prices, the chances are that those small subset of people will still keep buying it and they can generate extra revenue that way. Or they might cave altogether and subscribe to Game Pass, where they have more control over how much they can charge for the subscription. Ultimately meaning they have more control over pricing. It's a win-win for them. Imagine if Lego had a subscription service. Get one random Lego sets per month. No, you can't pick. Maybe it's a Star Wars set, maybe it's just a single brick. You'd probably say no, right? Because when you spend time building something, you want it to be something you actually care about. It's the same with video games. Some of us don't want a buffet of mid-tier games. We want to pick our games on our terms, even if it costs more, even if it takes longer. That's why this pricing conversation is so complicated. You're not just paying for a product, you're buying your time, your experience, and occasionally a $70 game that crashes on the title screen. Look, I genuinely think it's fair for games to charge a higher price if they're delivering an elevated experience. And that's a big if. Because if the game doesn't live up to the promise, then you're not just overcharging, you're overhyping and underdelivering, which is a recipe for disaster. Think back to Legos. If you want the massive, detailed 7,000-piece Millennium Falcon, yeah, it's gonna cost you. Same goes for movies. You want the IMAX screen, 4DX seats, and the subwoofers that shake your soul? Yeah, you'll pay extra for that premium experience. Games should be no different, but only when they earn it. Now hold on. Before you think I'm fully siding with $80 price tags, pump the brakes. Because in next section, I'm going to tell you exactly why this price hike might still be a terrible idea.
The price of a game has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of a game. Madden costs as much as Mario Odyssey, Assassin's Creed is $60, and Red Dead 2 is $60. Cyberpunk is an unfinished game, doesn't matter, $60. Doom Eternal is one of the best shooters of all time, also $60. It's like if you walked into a car dealership and you could buy a Rolls Royce for the same price as a used PT Cruiser.
As the title suggests, gaming is a spectrum. What do I mean by that? Well, in other forms of media, the definitions are pretty tight. A 3 to 6 minute audio file with some rhythm and maybe some rhymes. Yeah, that's a song. If it's an hour long and it's mostly people talking, podcast.
Stop. I do what I want. I do what I want.
Same goes for visual non-interactive media. If it's a 2-hour story with 3 acts and a credit roll, that's a movie.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
If it's in episodes, it's a show. If it's 5 minutes long and vertical, probably someone doing a TikTok dance. The rules are pretty clear. But with games, the rules are... What rules? A mindless but addictive pattern-matching dopamine loop on your mom's iPad? Candy Crush. That's a game. A weird but brilliant interactive movie where you piece together a mystery? Immortality. Also a game, a 60-hour cinematic cowboy saga where you pet horses and rob trains. Red Dead Redemption 2. You guessed it. Game. Okay. A physical board game where you trade wood for sheep with your friends? Catan. Yup, it's still a game. These things are wildly different from each other, yet we call all of them the same thing. Game. And that's where the pricing mess begins. When the definitions of a medium is this loose, the pricing structure cannot be tight either. Games can be free. Games can be $80. There is no set formula like a game equals 10 hours of fun equals $60. Some people will play Candy Crush for free for 10 years. Some will play Disco Elysium for 10 hours and have their worldview changed. Some will play Call of Duty for 10 minutes and rage quit. Value in gaming is weird. It's personal. It's not just about how long a game is or how pretty it looks. And finally, game publishers seem to be getting that. Take Split Fiction, launched earlier this year for $50. It's a 15 to 20 hour game, depending on your skill level, which is more innovative than the majority of full-price AAA games or Spider-Man Miles Morales. Tech-wise, that game is stunning. Easily worth $70 on visuals alone. But it launched at $50. Sony knew that even though the game looked next-gen, it wasn't a full-length sequel. It was honest pricing. Helldivers 2 launched at $40 and offers more chaos and teamwork than some games double the price. All great games, all priced realistically.
Just be reasonable and go.
Make me. Hitler.
No, no. No, I want to swim any better.
However, only a few years ago it felt like no matter how short your game is, Full price is the way. The Order 1886 launched back in 2015 at full price and got roasted for being less than 10 hours long. It looked incredible, no doubt, but people weren't paying just for shiny coats and foggy London streets. It did not deliver on the full price promise. Makes you wonder, would people have been kinder if it launched at $40 instead? Would The Last of Us launch at $70 today if it were a new IP and people knew how short it was? Hard to say. We're also living in an indie golden age, games that are wild, bold, and deeply creative, and they usually cost way less than a AAA title. So when a publisher asks for $80, people aren't just asking, can I afford it? They're asking, why though? Because when you got $20 games blowing minds and $80 games recycling content, pricing becomes a whole different conversation. Let's not forget, Nintendo still charges full price for games that came out 10 years ago because they know you'll buy it. They know Mario Kart World won't get a sequel till Switch 3, so they've got you in a chokehold. It's all about perception of value and sometimes scarcity. So where does that leave us? Well, if gaming is this broad spectrum from brain-dead Match 3 to life-affirming art pieces, then $80 should be a premium, not the default. That price point should scream,
I'm doing something special.
Not just,
I exist.
but dear game publishers, I leave you with this. If you think your game is worth $80, I ask you, are you sure? And if you're still sure, like, really? Then I ask one last time, is it though?
What does that also mean? It also means that now your special editions are $90. Your ultra editions are $100. $100 fucking games. What I say, you're gonna need fucking a second job. If you wanna buy 3 games in a month, you need 3 jobs!
Let's be real for a second. The most important thing any product needs to think about is who it's actually for. You could have the most amazing idea in the world, but if you pitch it to the wrong crowd, it's game over before it even begins. You don't open an Arby's in a town full of vegans. You don't open a retirement home in a city where the median age is 22. Know your audience. Now let's talk about the gaming audience. Sure, not every game is made for kids and teens, but let's face it, games are long, demanding, and often have learning curves that feel like hiking Everest barefoot for newcomers.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad! You keep
Playing.
So naturally, the people with most time and energy to play them? Younger folks, teenagers, college students, early 20s. You know, that demographic that's swimming in free time, but not exactly swimming in cash.
I do what I want. I do what I want.
Here's the thing about that crowd though. They love games. They live and breathe them. But they're also checking their bank account before they buy a skin. If you're a teenager, you're either saving up your allowance, doing chores, or hustling at a minimum wage job just to get that new game. If you are in university, you're choosing between a Steam sale and groceries. Sure, there are some exceptions. Some gamers do drop $20 on Fortnite skins like it's nothing. Good for them. But most are price sensitive. Gaming is already an expensive hobby. Consoles, subscriptions, accessories, games, and not everyone has the luxury to just add to cart without thinking. There are people right now that are saving every spare dollar so they can buy a PS5 or a PS5 Pro just to play GTA 6 on day one. That's real. And when you start jacking up prices even by $10, that extra cost isn't just a latte a month, it's the difference between 4 games a year to 2. Multiply that across millions of gamers, and suddenly, sales don't hit projections, executives panic, developers get laid off, and then we're all sitting around wondering what went wrong. Compare that to, say, Lego. If a fancy Lego set goes from $200 to $220, nobody bats an eye, because the people buying $200 Lego sets usually aren't sweating over a $20 bump. But in gaming, that same bump might be the reason someone skips your game entirely. The stakes are just different. Look, I get it. Games are expensive to make. Budgets are ballooning. And there's only so much profit to be squeezed out before someone at the top says,
Let's add more microtransactions.
But pricing AAA games without acknowledging your target audience, who they are, what they can afford, and what else they have access to, that's not bold, that's reckless.
I find a Cadbury cream egg from a couple years ago and I brought it.
This is one.
This is this year's Cadbury egg, not the mini egg, not the mini cream egg. This is this year's egg.
Yes.
This is the egg.
Oh, wow! Look at that!
Judge for yourself, America.
You know what shrinkflation is, right? If not, Here's the quick version. It's when companies quietly shrink a product rather than raise its price. Your favorite snack used to be 100 grams, now it's 80 grams. Same packaging, same price, fewer munchies. Everyone knows of the infamous Cadbury cream eggs, which have shrunk more and more every year since Cadbury cannot raise its prices without incurring a loss. Now here's the thing. Shrinkflation doesn't work with games. You can't just make less game and hope no one notices. Try shipping a 3-hour-long open world RPG for 80 bucks and watch the internet explode. Games don't come in grams or inches. They're measured in content, depth, replayability, and scope. And players, they notice. They notice fast. So what can publishers do when costs go up but prices are capped? Well, not much. They often bank on a long tail. Sell the games at full price early, then throw it on a sale later to boost volume and exposure. If you bought Forza Horizon 5 for 30 bucks on a sale and loved it, chances are higher you'll buy Forza Horizon 6 at full price. That's the gamble. But here's the problem. The sales have kind of plateaued. We're no longer in the golden age of console growth. PS5s and Xboxes are selling, sure, but not in the same magical new quantity that'll offset rising budgets. If your sequel does not dramatically outperform your last title, the numbers just don't add up. Budgets balloon, but your audience pretty static. So how do publishers respond? Well, they stop playing favorites. Sony puts games on PC. Microsoft flirts with the idea of Halo on PlayStation. Everyone wants their slice of the bigger pie because exclusivity isn't enough anymore. The math just doesn't work. And here's where things get messy. Let's look at Take-Two Interactive, Rockstar's parent company, the people behind GTA 6. In 2022, they bought Zynga, or Zynga? I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Zynga. Yeah, the Farmville folks. Why? Because half their revenue now comes from mobile. Not GTA, not NBA 2K, mobile. Let that sink in. That means the big suits have learned something terrifying. They can make more money slinging ad-ridden mobile slop than funding genre-defining, genre-shaping games. That's the danger zone.
Lana. 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 Lana!
What?
Danger zone.
If ambitious, bold, risky games stop making financial sense, publishers will stop making them. Why spend 5 years crafting an emotional masterpiece when you can make a Merge 3 Fruits game that prints money in 6 months? And look, I don't want that. I don't want the future of gaming to be Candy Crush in a trench coat. So yeah, I do think there's a case to be made for certain games, the real ambitious ones, to cost more. If that's what it takes to keep this art form alive and weird and experimental and massive and mind-blowing, then fine, I'll pay the premium. But only if the game earns it. Because if I'm shelling out 100 bucks, it better rewire my brain.
I suspect that this pricing for Mario Kart World is actually more about incentivizing people to buy the bundle rather than like a concerted effort to move the industry to an $80 price tag as standard. And with how much economic turmoil is afoot at the moment, I would be surprised if this industry took this as their cue to make all future releases $80.
You know how I said a game has to earn the premium before I'd pay more? Yeah, apparently that memo got lost somewhere in the billion-dollar publisher email chain.
I am shitting myself.
Then you need to wear diapers. You shouldn't be shitting on yourself.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Because the second a company dares to break the max price rule, the rest of them pile on like it's a Black Friday sale on greed. Sony did it in 2020, bumped next-gen prices by 10 bucks, and despite all the backlash, it worked. And now Nintendo's doing it, Xbox is doing it, everyone's stretching that price ceiling like it's made out of rubber. But here's the thing, this isn't 2020 anymore. Back then, raising game prices felt gross, sure. But at least people had more disposable income, pandemic time off, and that shiny cutting-edge next-gen hype to justify it. Now, it's 2025. The economy is rough. The inflation is brutal. And people are getting laid off left and right. Who exactly are these $80 games for?
Millionaires?
Yes, manufacturing and publishing costs are up. Yes, tariffs do suck. But let's not pretend your average gamer is sitting on a mountain of gold. If anything, they are more price sensitive than ever. So if you're a publisher thinking of bumping prices, I'm begging you, seriously, don't. Let's take a look at what Nintendo said. Variable pricing for Switch 2 games? Translation?
We're charging more for the stuff you really want.
Probably Zelda. Probably Metroid. Games that won't get a sequel for years. Probably until Switch 3 comes out. They'll be premium priced because Nintendo knows their fans will pay. And guess what? They will. Because Nintendo's built a cult following and their games rarely drop in price or even leave their platform. Now Xbox followed suit. And no, it's not just copycat. Now Xbox followed suit. And no, it's not just copycat behavior. It's actually more strategic. See, Xbox doesn't want you buying games at all. They want you on Game Pass paying $20 a month forever like it's your Netflix for games. Don't want to pay full price for the next Doom? No problem, it's included in your sub. You might not even like the game, but hey, it's there, and you'll try it. That's the point. Instead of relying on games' individual, uncertain success, they want to rely on steady and certain monthly revenue. Kind of like what Netflix does with their movies. It is smart. It is convenient. It is kind of a trap. Right now, Game Pass feels like a great deal. Tons of games just waiting to be played, all for one low price. But ask yourself, what happens when everyone's hooked? What happens after Game Pass becomes the default? Say it with me, kids. The company has all the power to control pricing so they can jack it up to whatever they like anytime they want, therefore creating a monopoly. Yay! You get a star! That's the playbook. Hook 'em now, drain 'em later. Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime Video, ChatGPT. You know the drill. So if you're resisting Game Pass pipeline and still buying games outright, guess what? You're getting hit with that $80 price tag. A little punishment for not joining the club.
But in the club, we all fam. What?
And I know, a lot of you will be like,
But Game Pass is not a monopoly. There is also PlayStation Plus.
and to them, I say, I know, but PS Plus is not on PC yet, so while it is a competitor for sure, Game Pass still offers more value. So yes, while Game Pass is objectively a good deal today, but would it be if the prices doubled or tripled tomorrow? I bet the other companies are watching that $80 pendulum very closely, each with their own spin on why their games is suddenly worth more. Ubisoft? Jack up the prices to $80 so their game holds more value when it goes on sale in 2 months. EA? Raise the price, then generously offer you a $10 discount if you subscribe to EA Play. NBA 2K or EA Sports FC? Still releasing nearly identical games yearly. Why do you want $80 again? Please, I'm begging you. Don't charge premium prices for games that don't evolve meaningfully. Just because someone else did it doesn't mean you should. Unless your game is actually pushing boundaries, don't punish your audience for your budget spreadsheet. See, Sony is in a tricky spot. If they launch the next Horizon or Spider-Man game at $80, will players bite? Maybe. Would you pay $80 for the next Spider-Man or Horizon game? Let me know in the comments. Sony is still doing day one exclusivity on the PS5, which gives them leverage. But even then, shouldn't they ask why they're charging more? Is it because your development costs skyrocketed? Because your game offers something revolutionary? Or is it just because
Nintendo did it.
Find the why. If the answer is just we want more money, then maybe hold off. Or better yet, follow Remedy's example. Alan Wake 2 launched 3 years into the current gen and still costs $60. And guess what? It's better than most next gen games out there. No $80 tag needed. Have a little goodwill. Have a little restraint. Because when players feel respected, they'll actually pay you back. Not just with money, but with loyalty.
Where it gets even more absurd is when you take into account indie games, Celeste, Cuphead, Sonic Mania, Inside, Gungeon. These are some of the best games you can play, and they cost $20.
So where does all of this leave us? Games are art, games are products, games are sometimes tech demos, and sometimes cultural touchstones. But more than anything, games are experiences. And those experiences exist on a spectrum. Some will last you 200 hours, some will burn bright in just 5. Some will change your life. Others, not so much. That's what makes pricing games so complicated. And why trying to force them all into the same $70 or $80 mold feels like a business tactic than a reflection of value. We have hit a point where $70 or $80 is becoming the default. Not because games deserve it, but because it's what everyone else is doing. And that's dangerous, not just for your wallet, but for the creative risks that studios are allowed to take. When games become too expensive to make and too risky to sell, we lose the weird ones, the bold ones, the ones that don't fit into the neat little monetizable boxes. Right now we're at a tipping point. Publishers are testing boundaries, not just with prices, but with how we access games altogether. The way I see it, the industry is slowly shifting towards a world dominated by subscriptions, where services like Game Pass and PS Plus flourish more than ever before. Objectively, that can be a good thing. especially for small studios, the one willing to take the creative risks and explore weird, bold ideas. Subscriptions can help their games get discovered by more people, but let's not forget what we're trading for: that convenience, control. We're putting the power of pricing, access, and catalog curation in the hands of a few very large companies. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't fully trust them. Not when price hikes feel inevitable, not when monopolies are forming right under our noses. But maybe there's still time to course correct. If a game is truly exceptional, if it earns your time, your respect, and attention, or leaves you thinking long after the credits roll, then yes, maybe it deserves a premium price. But we should not normalize those prices across the board just because.
That's where the industry is heading.
We shouldn't normalize premium prices for mediocrity. Support the studios that take risks. Reward the games that value your time. And don't be afraid to say no when companies try to nickel and dime you just because they think they can. Because in the end, you decide what games are worth. Not the publishers, not the analysts, you.
Not me, not Hermione, you!
And if enough of us push back, maybe, just maybe, we can keep gaming magical. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Would you pay $80 for your favorite game? Do you think variable pricing is fair? Or are we just heading into a future where the only thing next gen is the price tag? Do you welcome the subscription future? Or are you wary of the power it gives these platforms? Let's talk. Hey, thank you so much for watching my video. Yes, it's my second video. I still might not be good enough, but guess what? I fixed my audio issues. I just noticed how bad the audio was in the first video. And yeah, I was holding mic the wrong way. I was holding it kind of like this and instead of this. And I realized that the mic is actually here and it's not here or at the top, which is, yeah, I should have checked that before I was recording. But anyways, thank you for tuning in. Have you considered subscribing? I would love to have some subscribers. I would love to have some audience because I can talk to you guys and not just talk into the void. So please, if you like this video, please consider subscribing and liking this video so I can keep making more and also keep getting better. Thanks for watching.